Good morning
Good afternoon.
and evening, wherever you are on our amazing planet. And I want to be the first to say
Okay.
happy birthday, Shia.
Thank you.
This airs on Shia's 85th birthday. Can you believe he's 85?
I don't talk about it too much because the universe may find out,
Okay.
may catch up with me.
Happy birthday, youngster. Today's episode is on shaving off your truth. And when you shave off the truth when communicating
Well,
with anyone, you end up in a relationship with yourself that's conflicted.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, not only that,
What?
then you can't relax into being you. You gotta, you gotta hide your lies,
Mhm.
and you have to have a good memory.
Sometimes we watch Judge Judy, and one of her famous sayings is, if you tell the truth,
You don't need a good memory.
because you don't have to remember what you said last time, because it's simply the truth.
That's right.
Well, the first thing to address or play with, not only for you as a listener here, but in general, is listening as a skill set where you listen, period. You listen to your environment, you listen to yourself. When you're not in the midst of a conversation, when you're listening to somebody else, you drop the conversation with you and you listen to the other.
Like I'm doing now.
You are.
Thank you.
You're so delightful.
Thank you. Yes.
Mm.
So, this whole thing about telling the truth,
Mhm. Yeah.
if you're a frequent listener to this show, this podcast, it used to be a radio show. That's why I said show. You'd probably think I was going to talk about listening. I'm not.
What are you going to talk about?
Telling the truth.
Okay. What about the truth?
Well, the truth shall set you free.
Mhm.
The truth allows you to be you. And when you're being honest and truthful, you don't have to pretend to be what you're not in order to get somebody's approval or avoid their disapproval.
We often talk about the three principles of instantaneous transformation. The first being anything you resist, persists, grows stronger, dominates your life. Second, you can only be exactly as you are in the current moment
of your life, which is where your life is taking place.
And third, anything you see without judging completes itself in an instant.
Anything you tell the truth about.
So when you're talking about expressing your truth, I see that also as part of the third principle. Anything you say without judging completes itself. So sometimes when people are communicating, it comes through with their judgments on that person.
That's right. Or their emotions like anger and upset and blame. So if I'm blaming you for how I feel, then I'm completely irresponsible because you feel the way you feel and you blame the circumstances for how you feel if you're normal. But in my world, there's another Judge Judaism, but in my world, each of us are responsible for how we're feeling, not as a blame or shame or guilt thing, but as a, that if it's yours, see, we've all been trained by our environments to blame the circumstances for how we feel. It's too light, it's too cold, it's too dark, it's too something for me to relax. Well, maybe not.
We had a family over to our house the other day. And the little boy is very, very young. And he wanted to try some cheese that we had bought. And it was like specialty cheese. So it was a much more
But
ripe.
It wasn't like a
American cheese or Swiss cheese, like the kind you buy in
Yeah.
the supermarket. It was when you bought it at a cheese shop. that had a rind on it that you could eat, and it looked kind of gooey. And so his mom said, okay, you want to try here, have a bite. So he took a bite, and
It was like the movie Big when Tom.
Hanks ate caviar.
That's right.
And so he stuck out his tongue with it falling off as a request for her to wipe his tongue off with a napkin, which she did. And it was pretty funny. But what was interesting about that, it was like, that was a young version of, I don't like this. But it wasn't, I don't like this. And you gave it to me and you made my mouth taste bad, which is more like the adult version of, I don't like what you just did, or I don't like what you just said. And now I'm upset and you did it to me.
Right.
Is very different than, I don't like that. And so it was really fun to see this.
I get what you're saying about not expressing your truth with attitude or used another word, but blame,
Yeah, judgments.
judgment.
Yeah.
There you go. That
Yeah.
was the word.
I think that's a good launching point. I know we didn't speak a lot about listening. If you're wondering why people around you don't tell the truth, chances are they're afraid of what's going to come back at them from you if you're not willing to listen and hear what they have to say from their perspective.
That's very good.
Let's take our first guest.
Okay.
Hey, Lenore.
You're pretty amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, which Lenore? Yes, she is too.
Yeah.
Welcome to being here.
Nice haircut.
Yeah, and she hasn't had it yet, not till
Oh,
tomorrow.
I thought you were getting a haircut. That's why I said that.
Thank you. And I was going to get a haircut, but now I'm going to get it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like this conversation so much about telling the truth and doing it without blame. I can see that kind of opened a whole world for me. I have a history of not necessarily evenly expressing my opinion about things. Like if
Well,
I don't.
that was a cover your ass. I mean, yeah.
First of all, Lenore, tell people where you're zooming in from, by the way.
I'm zooming in from Milford, New Jersey.
She's downstairs. We're going shopping after this. So.
That's right.
Yes.
You are going shopping.
Yes. You're invited, but you'd probably be bored.
No,
Yeah.
I have other things in
That
my
you wanna do.
agenda. Aside from that, yeah. So you say you've often
Not
blamed
evenly.
that was kind of fluffy. It wasn't really a
In my last relationship,
In my last relationship, I was not straightforward with my feelings or my thoughts.
experience. Yes.
So this is a really good thing because you can look now and see, did you hold things back until they became explosive?
Yes.
Did you shave off the truth about your communications as you were communicating?
I did both of those things. Yes, I did. I had this, I would tell myself that I was just keeping the peace and that it was better to just be,
Yeah, well, you see, you picked them though. You see, that's the problem. You picked somebody who you knew you couldn't just say your truth to.
I did.
That's
Well-
right. Otherwise, because see, if you in the relationship were consistently truthful, as in, and I'm not holding truth as a high and mighty. I'm just saying, say what you feel, how you feel when you're expressing yourself. That's your truth. Well,
Right.
you can't do that if the person you are in a relationship with expects you to be a mouse and you're really a lion and you've been pretending to be a mouse, well, then they're not going to like you very much when you get lionish.
Oh gosh. Yes, and I'm not a very good mouse.
What can I say?
That's really amazing, and I just was about to go into why do I think that I have to, but it doesn't matter. It's what I did.
Oh yeah. Well, you are hungry, that's all.
That's true.
See, humanity has survived by eating things that aren't necessarily that good, but if there's no food, you find something to eat. Now,
Yes.
that's an analogy or a metaphor for relationship. If you aren't being loved and physically touched and held and cared for by another, then you will substitute it for whatever will work. It might be a cat or a dog,
Mhm.
but frequently it's another human being who's not being very kind to themselves either.
Right.
I
Right.
also think that sometimes you find somebody and they really are in the first blush a partner, and you get excited, you think, oh wow. And then whatever you come into the relationship with reveals itself, and you can either meet it and address it in each moment,
Well,
or you can hide it because you don't want to blow the relationship.
Right.
And that's always the recipe for it to end.
see, if you can't be yourself in your own home,
Yes.
what good is it?
Yes.
If you can't,
I
you know, you might have to preface it with, look, what I have to say may not go over too well, but I really feel that, and boom, whatever the communication is.
yeah. Yes. And I can see that withholding it a little bit at the beginning, just it snowballed.
Exacerbates it.
Yeah, snowballs are really good. It does. It's like rolling downhill and getting more and more and more. And before you know it,
It's
you're,
an
yeah.
avalanche.
Yes. Yes, that's definitely what.
But if we take that interpersonal relationship with your ex
Mhm.
as a sample, uh, there's a high likelihood that how you are anywhere is how you are everywhere. So you may find that you'll go in and order a coffee and you don't say exactly what you want because, and then fill in the blank why, or they come back with something that's not quite right. And you're like, okay. Now, I'm not saying you always have, sometimes it is okay. Okay, fine. They gave me what I didn't want, but I'll be fine with this. And other times, you shave off saying something because you don't want to be perceived as something,
An angry woman.
Yes.
or
Yes.
you're in the teacher's professional development meeting and you have another question you'd like to ask and you don't want to look like the teacher's pet, so you don't ask it, or you give yourself lots of reasons why to withhold yourself.
I I love this because the areas where I do that, I can start to see it in different places in my life rather than I've been focusing just on how I was.
Well, here's the other thing, Lenore, darling. You got to take your enculturation into consideration. The
Mhm.
people you learned how to be around or from, how you learned how to be yourself from, were
Mhm.
not necessarily truthful with each other. Your parents weren't necessarily uh, in concert about things. They may have argued or outright fought or threw a cold shoulder to each other. They as a method of control
Right.
or manipulation. There's management by threat of upset. I'm sh-
Yeah.
I met your mother. I'm sure she's very good at that. Very powerful
Well, you
person.
once told us that she was a au pair, or she worked with families, and then
Mhm.
she was really good at just doing a look to get the kids to behave.
Behave.
And I'm sure she perfected that with you and your sisters.
Yes, this is true. Yes, absolutely. And
You
Yeah,
know,
but you can't blame her.
when you
See, at some point, that's what this whole thing is about. At some point, you got to realize that if you use your eyes to see your universe, your world, you'll realize that you do things that are not exactly ethical or uh, kosher. They're just not, kosher, not clean,
Right, right.
not they're for your survival rather than to be honest and truthful.
Shai and I talk about it sometimes, about the differences in the cultures that he and I come from. And in his culture, uh, stealing as a kid and stealing was the norm. And in my culture, it was really frowned upon. So if you take a look at what you came with, is the perfect download for Lenore. If you're trying to get away from that to be a better you're then resisting what they gave you, and you turn into the thing you resist.
That's right.
So if I take a look at your parents, when we first met your mom many years ago, she stated very strongly, I have no desire to ever be with a man again. Like, I want to be single for the rest of my life. And it was the first time I'd ever heard anybody say that type of statement that strongly. And you were in the room because she came to a seminar with you back in California many years ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if
your hair was black.
Very black. Yeah. No,
no salt in the pepper.
Right.
No.
And I would be surprised if you resisted that. Well, that's not me. I don't want to be that. But if you get that your parents, your father who went on to remarry and your mother who went on to not, had a perfect strategy for life, you learned it. And then if you try to get past it rather than owning that it's a perfect strategy for life, you have no options. You only have not that, which creates that.
Right.
Because what you resist, you become. You manifest what I was thinking about it. Anything I don't resist goes right by me.
And remember,
anything
at the end of the
I do
day,
resist stops at me. Like if somebody says something and I don't resist it, it never affects me, even if it's a negative thing. And it's not that I ignore it, but if I offend myself with someone else's behavior, that's on me. See, they didn't offend me. I offended me with what they said or did.
Yes.
And then, so if you try to not be your mom, you're only going to pick partners
that
will
will
end
in a divorced relationship
that is not amicable.
Oh my gosh. And I have resisted. And the thing about it is, my mom's amazing.
She is.
Well, we're not, it's not about your mom.
It's not.
It's about your conditioning. It's about your programming. It's about your saying no to, see, you want to find your own individuality if you're normal. And so how you do that, if you're normal, is in opposition to your parents or
your sisters, usually your nuclear family, or people who are really close in that respect. I guarantee you have no interest in whether my sisters are married, whether they have happy relationships, where they live, what kind of home they live in, or how much money they make, or their health, or their weight, or any other aspect.
Right.
Have you talked to yourself about any of those things in regards to your sisters or your mom?
All of them. I have had all of them in my.
And that is normal. We find a reference point and we hold ourselves accountable as better or worse. That's change. It's normal. There's a whole other possibility.
It's called transformation.
Ah.
Where you notice that you have a propensity to do that, and you don't judge yourself for it, and you don't have to invest in that. It's like, oh, look, I'm doing this. And you move on to whatever's next.
Okay.
And the truth really does set you free.
Mm. Okay. Wow. That's great.
It is. Thanks for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you. Lovely. Appreciate it.
Mm.
Now it's your turn. Let's hear what one of you listeners has to say about being here in the transformation community.
This is Zoe in Manhattan, and I love listening to Ariel and Shaya's Being Here podcast. It's something that keeps me recentered. It can be like taking a friend for a walk with you, and it's just a wonderful way to bring myself back to this moment.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shaya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
You're invited to our Living Made Easy 2-hour virtual seminars. The next one is this Saturday. You can come and belatedly celebrate Shaya's 85th birthday with him. And then Magical Relationships special 2 hours events. We have 2 of them coming up. We have Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, I get it. This is for Valentine's.
Yeah, why
Day.
not? And on Tuesday, in the time zone that is conducive to our next guest, Sonia, Tuesday, February 10th, it is 1930 Central European time. So feel free to join us. You can go to our website, transformationmadeeasy.com, and register. Our upcoming weekend seminars are both in person.
Yeah. In New York, we're doing The Power of Listening. That's on March 27th, 28th, and 29th, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Then we go in May to Hamburg, Germany.
And that on the 14th, we're doing the Freedom to Breathe.
It's a Thursday, and then Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
We're being boldly you.
So you can join us for any and all. And just to let you know, Costa Rica 2027 is open, and any of the weekend seminars are the prerequisite in order to attend.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our next guest.
Sonia.
Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hello guys, I'm Sonja and I'm zooming in from Bad Deckenstedt. It's in Germany. Yes.
Okay. I always like to try and get my mouth to wrap around
Those words.
Pearson and Deckenstedt. Okay. Nice to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, it was so great so far, what you shared with Lenore. There were some aha moments for me as well. But I still have one question left, and as I often don't shave off the true or doesn't speak when I should, I want to know what can I do to speak, because when I did have a discussion with my husband or someone else, I often don't find my voice. I want to say something, but there is a restriction, and I don't.
So here's the thing. We don't tell you what to do. Okay. So we don't. However, you could start by taking a breath and looking at what you want to say. See, the problem, Sonia, is you're afraid that if you say what you're thinking of saying, there's going to be blowback, and you don't want that blowback on you.
Yeah, right.
Right. So here's, sometimes I say to Ariel, you know, I've got something that I want to say, but it's kind of, pretty sure you'll get upset if I say it.
And then, of course, I go, no, I won't. What do you want to say? And then I am preset to have to set down or want to set down any visceral or automatic reaction so that I can actually listen to them. So it's not really manipulating me. It's well, only in the term, using the term in a good way. It sets me up to listen and to know that what he has to say might be something that
It's difficult for her to hear.
Yeah.
So what I have to say might be difficult for you to hear. However, that we have peace in our family, I need to say this. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
But I want to go back to your framing of this question, because I think a lot of the challenge you're experiencing comes from how you hold yourself. You said, I don't speak when I should.
Yeah.
And you speak a perfect amount right now. You've been doing, yes, I can see the smile. You've been doing it perfectly, but you judge yourself because, yes, let yourself feel that, because you think you should be different. And you can only be the way you are, sweetie. You really can.
Look, your parents they were not amicable all the time. Fair?
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. However, I can tell that, like you didn't come from a family where your mom said what she felt without your father getting very upset.
Yeah.
And she waited until she couldn't hold it back anymore. So it's not this, when you come in, do you think you could wipe your boots outside rather than on the rug? It wasn't that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
So this is about you reclaiming your individuality, your greatness, your right to be you.
But it really starts with kindness. If you're being hard on yourself for what you haven't done, rather than seeing there's a possibility, there's just possibilities.
And you see, if you're hard on yourself, you'll be hard on anybody around you, any relationship. You'll the truth, when told, is very freeing.
Yeah.
The truth, when told with a judgment, with emotion like anger, a resentment, blame, that does not go over very well. It's not well received.
Yeah, of course. Right.
And most of us, I have not always been an enlightened being. For me to tell the truth, I used to have to get very angry to push it out of me. So when you say I don't always speak up, I didn't always speak up either. I still don't always speak up. But when I do, I make it a point not to blame Ariel for what I have to say that relates to her. Like if I don't feel good, it's not her fault.
Like you're not making me feel good.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other thing, and this is a little bit what I was talking with Lenore about before, Sonia, it's time you meet your own self-governor and make friends with it. You have a thing that goes, oh, I can't say that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, well, they like me. If you have a parent teacher conference, it's like you want to look good for the teacher. You want to even look good for the barista at the coffee shop, and if you start seeing that you have that internal governor and notice it without judging what you see, you may find you
that
start
it
creating a
loosens
freedom.
up.
Yeah.
Right. It will loosen its grip on you. But if you don't want to see that dictator that lives in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a dictator. You can't say that. You can't do that. And pretty soon you can't say or do anything.
Or it says, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I should after the fact, I should have said that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is interesting. We have done now thousands of seminars. We just, we do the
Our
Living
life-
It Easy. We do
Our
Costa
life
Rica.
is a seminar.
We just, and with clients and whatnot. And it's often, not often as much anymore, but from time to time, we'll say, that's it for this evening. Thank you for being here. And we turn off and go, oh, we didn't talk about, Well,
Yeah.
that's because it didn't want to be talked about in that particular session. We've come to recognize that what wants to be talked about is, and what doesn't want to be talked about is not. And then we don't beat on ourselves for what wasn't addressed. I mean, we used to take notes for being here. We had a whole flip chart of things that we wanted to address in the Being Here show back when it was a radio show. And now we trust being ourselves.
And trust that you can't do your life wrong. See, you picked your husband. Now, I know that when you picked your husband, you were younger and you had these love drugs, they call them hormones, that were pushing. And so bad breath smelled sexy rather than, or smoker's breath smelled sexy rather than, but when you suppress yourself and suppress yourself and suppress yourself, if it comes out at all, it'll come out with anger, energy. And our suggestion is that you be kind to yourself. And then in being kind to yourself, you'll be kind in your delivery of whatever information you have to say. The message will not carry a dagger with it.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, Sonia, you're such a beauty. And you have no idea how beautiful you are. Really. And I'm not saying that to compliment you or make you feel good.
No, I know.
I see it as how I see you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's an observation.
Last week's show was Hanging with Your Peeps, and it was about not underestimating the power of hanging out with people and people you love. And I think sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped up in our lives, Sonia, that we self-isolate either in our thoughts or in reality. And we forget to look out there and actually see how people perceive us, how their experience of us. And as Shai's talking about how beautiful you are, it's my experience that you're just an incredibly beautiful person. And I'm not even primarily talking about how you look. There's just a sweetness about you that your self-perceptions tend to hide from you. And that doesn't make you strange. That makes you normal.
Well, the other thing is this. We come to decide about our attractiveness, our beauty at a very young age. And then we have the same thoughts over and over. We never really, there's this thing with computers called a cache. Do you know what that is? It's like a piece of information that's held from the past over time, and you don't look newly. Sometimes you have to restart your computer to get rid of that thing coming back over and over again. Well, you see, you got to restart your computer in a way to discover who you are, because you keep on thinking you're who you were once. And that was from a child's point of view. We have between 40 and 60,000 thoughts a day, but they're repeats of thoughts we've had before. And so you're just not discovering who Sonia is. You're looking at an old picture not who's
Yeah.
here right now.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. This was very sweet. Thanks.
You're so welcome.
And
Thank
you're
you.
sweet. You're very sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are loved.
Mm-hmm. I want to, it would be a natural end now and say thank you and turn this off, but I just wanted to share with you something that happened this morning that I think might be something that's supportive for you and for the listeners. This morning, Shai and I both got up very early, and my alarm went off quite early, and I heard that Shai was already up. So rather than hit snooze, I got up and went into the kitchen, and we had coffee together. And he said, I had disturbing dreams last night, and I woke up feeling disgruntled with myself. And he started describing his experience of himself. And it was like, oh, and that happened to me a few days ago, and I described it to him. I have a feeling if you are out of sorts, you don't necessarily go, I don't know your husband's name, but if it were Shia, you don't go, Shia, man, you wouldn't believe my thoughts right now. They're really being hard on me. Like you don't freely share the observation of your interior climate. It's kind of like going, look, it's snowing outside. You wouldn't have a problem going, look, it's snowing outside. But if it's snowing in your head, you're like,
Yeah.
that's private. I can't say anything until it thaws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, for sure.
Just another possibility.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
You're welcome. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being with us. You can share this podcast with your friends. If you're coming to Living Made Easy or the Magical Relationships evenings, invite folks. The more the merrier. We're going to have some fun. Next week's podcast, doing nothing. And it feels real good.
Too.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Being here.